Well, hello and welcome. We're out playing today. Mr. Colter Young from Mining Magnet stopped by, and he has brought his new wet separator for magnetic sand. If you're a 3D printer, I don't know, this is a work of art here. This is crazy, but he did a fantastic job. This is so you can take wet black sand, run it through and onto a sluice. Now this is my little Miller table sluice that we've been selling at printingprospectors.com. Colter's unit is not for sale yet. He's still in the design process, and so he's made a small one, and I think he's going to try and scale it up to something bigger. We've played with some of the magic bits and stuff from mining magnets before. So it's got the slide in roly-poly in the back. So there is a spinning magnet inside. You put your material up here in the top, and we'll demonstrate all this. Water flow comes in here. The magnet spins, the material goes down. This one's supplying water here. And then all the magnetic stuff comes out over here. This is the magnetic stuff that we've already pulled out of this 5-gallon bucket of Cape Disappointment sand. That was brought to me by a friend, Dave. Thank you for dropping that off from Cape Disappointment. And if any of you know Cape Disappointment sand, if you've ever played with it, is probably 90% magnetic material. So for what we ran, this is the magnetite we pulled out in that bucket there, and it is just heavy. That's about, oh gosh, 15 pounds of black sand. This over here was the stuff that came out the other side. With this being so magnetic, it didn't pull it all out. So we're going to run this through again, pull the rest of the magnetics out. We're also going to dump some gold in there just to make it more interesting. But, you know, imagine this. If you're running this, any sluice with heavy black sand, the gold has to, you know, compete with the black sand. So any amount of magnetic material, heavy black sand you can take out, the better. So we'll go ahead, we'll fire this thing up, and I think I'll just dump in some gold here. This is some gold from Cape Disappointment that came out of beach sand like this. Some of it's got some little bit bigger flakes, but we'll go ahead and sprinkle some of this in here. That'll be good enough for a little test run. And we ran this gold, or this sand, and it wasn't all that great. There's not that much. We probably got, I don't know, what, 100 specks maybe? Maybe 50 specks out of a half a bucket. So we didn't do real good. We're going to add some jet dry in there. Let's see. Let's go ahead. We'll get this thing running. We'll be back in a second.
Let's talk about this real quick.
Oh, okay.
Before I go, I want to also demonstrate the dry separator. And what we're doing right now is we got some of this Cape Disappointment sand, and we're just drying it out on this lid right here. And it's got to be 100% dry so it can run through the dry separator. But I just want to show you how much magnetite is in this stuff. I mean, that's just insane. I mean, every molecule in here is almost magnetic. So like Alan said, if you're familiar with this stuff from Cape Disappointment, it's definitely a challenge to get through. And so what we're just doing is we're playing around and trying to put together a solution for this really dense concentrated iron material.
Okay, so we'll get that. I've got one of his new dry separators in the house, so like I said, before we end, we'll go ahead and run some of that too. So get this fire.
Okay, so to run this material, what I usually like to do first, I'd like to get the water flow set up right. Since this sluice is pretty forgiving, I'm going to set the separator up first, and then we'll dial in the sluice afterwards. What I like to do is I like to first make this valve completely open. This valve is the water spray bar that sprays off the magnet. So we want to take as much pressure from the pump as we can, much pressure and flow. So this is all the way open. This right here is a valve that will mix the water with the iron and all the particulates. And so basically what happens is that there's more water molecules in between each magnetite molecule, so that if there's any gold in between those two molecules, it's less likely to get trapped. So if you can keep it sort of diluted, it helps with the separation. So that's what this one does. And so the way I like to do that is I like to make the same amount of water go out both sides, and I'm just gonna really quickly just look. So that looks like I'm getting less water out of here, so I'm going to turn this one down a little bit, try to even it out. Probably about right. And I'll put this back on. Now this is actually just draining down into here. It's not providing any suction or anything. It's just an open flume that just allows water to go there. So this is actually you could technically just set this somewhere into a bucket and not have to have this piece, but we're just using this as a pipe network. So as Alan showed earlier, here's the roly-poly. It goes on the inside of the separator, and I like to just turn that thing all the way up to 24 volts. And then last, I set this valve right here, and so this valve gives me my flow rate into the hopper. Now this does two things. The first thing is it keeps the water, everything fluidized, and the second thing it does is it actually sets the feed rate of the flow. Another thing that helps regulate the feed rate is this small opening. It's kind of an orifice, so that's about 2/10 of an inch, and so whatever can make it through here basically can go through like an hourglass, nice and slow, and it will sort of give the magnet time to remove the magnetic stuff, and then it'll also give the sluice more time to clear out, and it'll regulate the flow so you're not getting lots of surges in your flow. So this other piece right here helps it keep from plugging up, and I don't really understand the science behind it, but I do know it works really good. And this is kind of just something I just kind of taped together, glued together. So, and then just drop that in there. Okay, so I have just a little tiny stream of water flowing in there, and that's really all you need. That'll do it. Let me show you. So I'll just take my first scoop right here. It can be almost like a slurry. I'm just gonna drop it in, and you'll see that pretty soon the water is gonna actually rise and start making that stuff drop down to the bottom. And that's about as fast as you really want it to go. You see that right there, that's actually the speed of which the material is flowing, and that's driven by how fast I have this water set. So you could see I could really dial it down if I wanted to run it super duper slow. Now let's look down at the sluice to see if we see any black sand, or looks like
some sand. I already see a piece of gold.
It looks like we're seeing
some gold already. First
gold
scoop.
in there. And
let's see if we can see this. Go ahead and put some in there, Colter.
Okay.
There it comes.
Well, it's impressive when it's like not 100%. There you go.
There it comes. So you can see the black sand coming through there. If I can get the bubbles out of the way. The heavy black sand is coming down through here. You can see it in my hand. There we go.
Keep in mind, guys,
we already took that out.
This is the stuff that's coming out of that. It's just this thick, pure magnetite stuff.
So we're getting that. So that's going to help us with our gold recovery. Going a little bit fast.
Yeah, we are. See what happens when it doesn't.
Yeah, it's not clearing out right.
Yeah. I'm going to turn this down. It looks like we got a little bit too fast running. I do recommend this being sort of a learning experience the first time you run it. As you see, we're actually going to sort of dial this in and try to make things better. I'm going to maybe slow down the sluice a little bit.
There we go. Much better. But you can already see the gold starting in there.
And you really can't set it up unless you have material to run, and we're really in the process of fine-tuning it at this point.
Right. So we did have a little trail of black sand coming down, which you don't want, and the gold made it down about halfway down the mat, because it was riding that heavy black sand. So we want to feed this slow so we don't have that happen. And this probably isn't the best setup. We probably need a bar or a piece all the way across to evenly feed it in there. And yeah, just kind of since we're playing around, that's what we kind of came up with. So that's what we're doing.
Well, we're going to dial it in and then we'll cut back in and see what we got.
So we did have to improvise a bit, because with just the straight flow out there, it was just sending a steady stream of black sand down here that the gold was riding. So we put this couple little T's, drilled some holes. Yeah, it's redneck, but it's working. And now our gold is staying up at the top and not riding the black sand all the way down. Like we have, I see a speck right down here as the flare starts. But the flare should take care of anything else, and that's only because it was riding that heavy black sand down.
Also,
you can see that.
Also, I wanted to point out that the black sand that's riding down this sluice is mostly hematite, even though it looks like magnetite. I'll show you the difference if you want to take the camera over here. So we're pulling off very, very, very fine hematite particles, as opposed to what's in this side is magnetite particles. So it's actually sticking in the riffles because it's overloaded on stuff that the magnetic separator can't pull out. So right now we're actually trying to fine-tune the flow rate and get the sluice to process what the magnetite or the magnetic separator couldn't remove, which is kind of encouraging for me as the magnetic separator guy, that we were able to get most of the magnetics out.
We did. We did get most of the magnetics out.
I thought we were going to get another bucket just like this, but I can't believe it.
We'll compare it. This is the second time through, so when we're done running this, we'll compare it and see. So we went ahead and ran our pan of material with the gold in it. And for just screwing around, I think we did pretty good. You can see, get up here. You can see the gold in the top of the mat there, in that little mini nugget trap in the silicone mat. So once that gold touches that silicone mat, it doesn't move. You can see down here, we got some chunks of gold that were riding the heavy black sand. We had some streaks, especially in the very beginning, that rode down into here. But the start of the flare, right here, is some. And then look down here. Nothing down into the flare at all. We did, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There is some scattered in there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it wasn't perfect, but we did pretty good, doggone good for Cape Disappointment sand and just playing around with it. That's the magnetite.
So I'm mostly impressed that if I go into this this tailings bucket and I stick this magnet in there, and after seeing that trail of black sand, I would have assumed that there would have been a lot more magnetite in there. But I mean, we're pulling out minimal amount of magnetite, and you know, the separator is pulling out all the magnetite. So let's look at the difference on the two. So
that was a second run through of the magnetite. That's what it pulled out the first time. That's what it pulled out the second run through. Yeah. So it actually did a pretty doggone good job.
I'm actually very impressed with that. Let's dump this out. Watch your feet. So after it's all said and done, we've got that stuff. Take a handful of it. Versus this stuff.
Ooh, there's a big difference. Not sure if the camera, this is kind of a brown.
Yep.
That is black. Jet black. So there's definitely a difference between the two.
And if you were to ask me, this is mostly non-magnetic hematite or other minerals, but crazy, but not that magnetic. What do you think? We pan that out and show them what we got?
Yeah, we can pan this out real quick, and then maybe we'll run that.
Oh yeah.
We'll run the dry material that dog has decided is nice and warm and wants to lay in. Comfy anyway. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, I'm back, and you know, I started to pan that out, and then I remembered saying that I absolutely refuse to pan Cape Disappointment sand. And I've said it before, and that's why we kind of came up with this blue bowl method with the silicone mat. Also the cyclone bowl, I drug that out of the shed first, but my mat wasn't silicone down good enough, and it started to come out, and I don't want to wait for it to dry, so we're going to go ahead and use the blue bowl. You can already see that the sand's breaking away from the gold, and the gold will sit right there on that mat because of the silicone. And you can come up with as many reasons as you want, or you can go back and watch my beach sand videos where the gold literally hangs to that mat. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of all this sand, run that little bit of material, and get the gold out, and then we'll move on to the dry separator that Colter's getting set up. Okay, it's working away. Well, we are done running this. We're going to get all the black sand out we're going to get. I'll turn it off. You can see how the gold, you know, I keep getting asked, Alan, how good are the silicone mats? Well, if this doesn't say all the gold, and I ran it super fast all the way up to the top, but this is what it's all about. Gold sticks and does not slide on silicone. So we will get this all brushed together and get it sucked out of there.
Okay, so this is the material that we dried out right here. Actually didn't take that long in the sun this time of year. So what I'll do is I'll just take a little tiny bit and put it in this pan right here with this magnet, this stationary magnet. It's the regular plunger magnet. And I'm only going to put it in just to show how the roly-poly works, to describe the initial concept, and then we'll go into the dry separator. So the roly-poly, which we showed earlier in the wet video, plugs into different separators and stuff, but it can be used alone as a cleanup tool. And you can see here that it just pulls the magnetite out, leaving the non-magnetics behind in what I would call batches. You would have to take a little bit of sand, remove the magnetite, and then take the non-magnetic sand and process it, and then repeat that process with a new batch of material. Now the idea is to be able to do this continuously without having to make little batches here and there. And so what we do is we're going to actually put this inside of the dry separator, just like that. I'm going to take the power supply and I'm going to plug it into this splitter, which will turn on a light on the inside to help you see what's going on. If you want to come around
here to show you the light.
You see on the inside.
It's kind of bright out here for that. There you go, you can see it.
And just start, I guess what I'll do is just dump this little pan in, and then we'll show it going in, and we'll show what happens going over the side here.
The magnetic stuff coming over. And the non-magnetic stuff in this side. Working its way down.
Okay, so now, after showing you this stuff should have very little magnetic material in there. And this stuff over here has the majority of the magnetite. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to run this as fast as it'll go. I'm going to take the scooper, I'll put it in the funnel and let that work itself. So just keep doing that. Now we've got this running very slow because this material is quite dense in magnetite, like we saw earlier. So the only way to make the process more effective is to slow everything way down. I think I might have got like a little rock or something there. It's running a little slower than normal. I'm going to see if I can speed that up. That's actually a little too slow.
There it goes.
Yeah, there it goes. I think maybe I had a little tiny
Yeah, it could have been a little
cobble
moisture in there too.
Yeah, this thing's pretty wet. The scooper is. So we'll run this and get back to you guys. Okay, so we actually put the next bigger funnel up in here as a test, and it seems like we're still doing a pretty consistent process or separation. So we're just gonna run it a little bit faster. Trying to be careful there.
Magnetic stuff here. Look how black that is. Look how blonde that is.
So we are missing a little bit. You can see here. But this is what we didn't miss, which is really cool. Especially for how fast we're running it right now. Now we're getting so full here, I'm actually going to have to dump this.
Oh, and you keep seeing whiffs of smoke come by the camera. We're not smoking out here. We're really not. Well, we kind of are smoking out here. Look at this. The Colter brought up. Ooh, New York strip. Big old hunk of meat. We're going to be eating good.
So this is the material that ran through the separator that was non-magnetic. I like to just get a magnet and see how we did. You saw before, literally we couldn't get the magnet near this stuff, and that's pretty much all that made it through, and
that's not much.
That's not much. Let me show you what we got that was magnetic. So I'll just show you the difference there in sand colors, and show you the difference on the magnet. That's so this stuff came out, and this stuff is hopefully got your gold in it. So you can find these at miningmagnets.com, and stay tuned for in the next couple months. I'll have the wet separator posted for sale, where you guys can get that one too. Right now this guy comes with the, so this roly-poly separator set comes with the roly-poly that you saw running in both demos and in the pan demo. The dry separator with lights, and we've also got the different size funnels, and this right here is a little elbows that will help position the flow where you want it, and it's also got a light inside. And this this thing runs a little less than 200 bucks, but I've had really good feedback from the community on these. So go check out the website. That's www.miningmagnets.com. Thanks for watching the demo, guys.
Cool. Well, and I did get my gold back. Oh, the sun's going to get me. I did get my gold back that we put in there. The Blue Bull with that silicone mat works amazing. It was quick. The wet separator was an absolute blast to play with, as long as the Miller sluice. Yeah, if you're interested in the little Miller sluice or silicone mats, you can check out printingprospectors.com. I want to thank Colter for coming along and playing today and showing me his new wet separator. That was a lot of fun. Hey, let us know what you think in the comments of it. We would appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye now.